the talk show. My name is Nomsa Clara Mncube. I'm the founder of Hope Spring Eternal Introduction Agency and the founder of Ngosi Talk Show, and I am your host today. So over to you, Carole Ann. Please introduce yourself to our audience, please.
Hello, and good afternoon here from London. Nice, bright, sunny day, and hope everyone's had a good Easter time. We had a bit of snow here, which was like, what? It was yesterday. So a bit of fun. So yes, I'm Carole Ann, and as the writing facilitator, what I do is I support soul-driven entrepreneurs to become more productive with their writing. But more importantly, they experience free-flowing writing. They experience an unlocking of the writer within and getting their book written, getting their story written, because you cannot publish what isn't written. And all of this has come about through my own journey of unlocking the writer within, which is still ongoing. And it very much shifts as you're unlocking that writer. It shifts your own vibration within. So it's been an exciting journey. And I still enjoy mathematics. I gave up everything yesterday. I was asked, can you help me with my maths? And I went, yes. And I started thinking, I wish I could do that with writing as easily. But that's what I can actually help you to do. And that's what I'm working with on myself, is creating that love and that deepening of bringing out that writer within. So I'm Carole Ann, the writing facilitator, unlocking the writer within.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Carole Ann. Over to you, Amanda. Please introduce yourself to our audience.
Hi, my name is Amanda Cottrell. I'm the founder of Art, Mindfulness, and Creativity. I am a teacher, an author. I also write articles for a magazine, and I illustrate the books that I write as well for children. And my focus is on empowering others to find their creativity within themselves.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Amanda. So our topic today is how your vibe attracts your tribe. So, um, who chose the topic, by the way? Was it Carole Ann?
No, it was me.
Okay, Amanda, I'm gonna give it to you. Could you please explain to our audience why you chose this topic and what it means to you?
Well, I chose this topic because we didn't have a topic for today, but also because I just finished writing an article for Brain Z magazine on surrounding yourself with people who empower you. And within that article, I talked about how your vibe attracts your tribe. How have you ever heard this quote? Has your vibe attract your tribe? Or how your vibe attracts your tribe? And when I really started thinking about it, it really has been come true to my life as well. And so also the other quote that that inspired me to write the article was by, oh, hold on, I'll just recheck who it was. The motivational speaker John Rohan says that you're an average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And so if you look at who you spend the most time with, that really will tell you about how, like, you show up in the world. And so if you want to change your goals, or if you want to aspire to new things, you really need to start changing who you're surrounding yourself with, and start surrounding yourself with people who are inspiring or who are doing the things that you want to achieve. So if you want to become a writer, you have to start surrounding yourself with writers. If you want to be an artist, you need to start surrounding yourself with artists. If you want to become an engineer or a doctor or something, you have to start surrounding yourself with people who can empower you to get to those goals and to reach those goals. And so for me, one thing that I noticed in my life was that when I was a new mom, all of my friends were new moms. Like, we all had our little babies, and we spent lots of time together doing lots of wonderful things. And it was a wonderful time in my life. But I was also working like after the first year, because in Canada you have a year of mat leave. But after the first year, I went back to work and I was doing my master's, and I just wasn't vibing with that same tribe that I had before, because they were stay-at-home moms and they didn't work, and they weren't working on goals that they that were similar to mine. Like, well, they were probably working on their own goals, but they just were not similar to what I was trying to achieve, because I was trying to finish my master's. I was also had all these ideas for children's books, and I had all of these ideas for business startups. And so I was like, I started surrounding myself with different people. And so now my tribe is very much people who are entrepreneurs, who own their own businesses, who are writers, and these people just started showing up once I started to go on my journey of, this is what I want to do and this is what I want to attract into my life. The people that I needed to help guide me started showing up in my life. And so I say in my article that I wrote for Brainsy magazine, even if you don't have anybody in your life right now that is in the direction of where you want to go, once you start and you start taking those steps towards it, the people that you need to show up will start showing up in your life.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Amanda. Before I comment, I'm gonna let Carole comment on this one. It's kind of itchy. My hair is itchy. I'm not used to putting earphones on.
Oh dear. It's not very comfortable, eh? And,
I know.
No. And this is it. Sometimes we can not be very comfortable with the people that surround us, because we find that we are shifting ourselves and things are moving. And what I've discovered over the years is actually the more you dive in and work on yourself, that people do either drift away or come along with you on the journey, and other people will join you. And although, I've often heard over these years, yes, it's who you surround yourself with. You need to surround yourself with these people, go and find them. Well, actually, if you work on yourself, these people just suddenly start showing up in your life, because you are then, there's a consciousness that attracts. There's an energy within you that attracts them to you. But also there's a part of your brain called the reticular activating system, which if I know a lot of people have probably been aware, you may have not had a certain car before, but all of a sudden you get a particular car, and then all of a sudden you see it everywhere. It's because you become aware of it. And this part of your brain just sends out those signals and helps you to become aware of it and brings it more into your life. The other thing is actually your own vibration of what you're saying to yourself and how you're feeling. Because what comes to mind is an incident that happened for me, which it was one of my sister's horses that really demonstrated this beautifully to me. Fresco, his name was. And I was going back to teaching after being away for quite a while, off ill. And yes, there was sort of an anxiety within me. And my sister said, let's come and let's work with this horse. So I got the horse out of the field and I was walking him, just trying to lead him, and he was everywhere. And she said, that horse isn't with you. And I went, I know. And we got into the schooling arena and let him go. And he literally bolted to the far corner. I was just my sister and I looked at each other. And he then sort of just came trotting back, looking at my sister. And then he wasn't very far away from us. And he turned and looked at me, and literally his feet went like this. And off he shot again. And it was like, what's going on here, and this happened a couple of times, and my sister said to me, "It's you. What are you doing to my horse?" Because what she was wanting to do was teach me join up, and so she went to do this with her horse, and she went over to him, and she said to me, "I can't do this because I'm already joined with him." And she was walking towards me with the horse whose nose was to her back, just literally following her. And then all of a sudden he caught sight of me again, and off he shot to the far corner. I just thought, there's no way I'm going to get anywhere near that horse to do anything with him. So we went outside the arena and to the side of it, and I did some activities, some brain gym and some vision gym activities that just helped shift my perspective, shifted how I was feeling within myself. And this horse did all the signs acquiescing that they do in join up. And my sister said, "Oh, I wish we had a video," because, he's showing all these signs. And he literally came over, put his head between, we had a gazebo, and he put his head between the gazebo and the fence. And she said, horses don't normally do things like that. And I got to a point where I thought, okay, I'm complete here. So I went back into the arena, and my sister said to me, "Well, just go back in there, touch him all over, stroke his nose, and say, come on, Fresco, turn and walk, and trust that he'll follow you." So I went back into that arena, and I walked up to that horse, and he stood there, let me stroke him all over. I stroked his nose, said, "Come on then, Fresco." I turned, I walked, and that horse followed me, nose to my back. And it demonstrated to me that all my anxiety was what was showing, sending him away. And when I cleared that anxiety, I shifted my own vibration. He came to me, and then he allowed me to be with him, follow me. And that, to me, was just an amazing demonstration of how we do repel people or attract people. And it is our own vibration. And so by changing that, changes everything around us. So yeah, it is about, again, as we often say, working on ourselves and focusing on what is it you want, and if it's not in your life, then what can you do? What part of you is pushing it away? Where's your anxiety? Where's your beliefs that maybe you can't have this, or it doesn't belong to you? Shift that, and that's when it starts coming.
Thank you
So
so
yes,
much.
interesting.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Carole Ann. It's very interesting for me. When I started my business, when I wanted to attract the actually tribe that I wanted to actually hang out with, I find it very, very hard. No matter how hard I tried, in the area where I lived, I went to business events, but I kept finding people. Okay, I wanted to sell something, sell my business, but the people that I was attracting, it was the people, because everyone says go to a business event, it goes to a business event. So the people that I was attracting, it was the people that wanted to sell and didn't want to create a relationship with me. And I find it was hard for me to actually connect with people, because at that moment, no matter how hard I tried to attract, at that minute it was really, really hard. I connected with someone, if I don't buy their products, if I connected with someone, they assume that I want to buy their products. But if you don't buy their product, then that relationship doesn't exist anymore. Until I actually had to pay the business events where I'm just gonna pay and go and actually introduce myself to people properly and go there every week. when I go every week, I connect with people. They're gonna spread the word about my business. I spread the word about my business. I find it really tough until I actually met my business coach, and then he introduced me to his tribe. That's when I actually had a meaningful relationship with his tribe. Then his tribe introduced me to other people as well. So that's where I found the really meaning connection with the other people. But when I was trying hard where I was going, things were tough. I didn't find it easy. I find that some people basically want to make a relationship based on what they can get from you. It's like here at Ngosi Talk Show, I tried as well. That's what I've been realizing as well. I tried to get some coaches to speak, but then what people have different expectations, because in order for you to have a bigger audience, you have to work for that audience. You have to win somebody's heart. So they were like, who is your audience? I tell them my audience, and they're like, when they come in and they're like, are your audience going to follow us? If I say, I'm not sure if they are going to follow you, because you have to actually show them, you have to attract them yourself. So then I see people giving up and walking away, because, and what I've learned as well, even though with my business coach, he had a big following, and for his following, for them to trust me, I had to work hard, basically building that relationship with them, to show them that I'm not just here to get what I want. I'm here to create that meaningful relationship with them. And that's when I started realizing they are happy to introduce me to their tribe. They are happy to actually ask to help me, to say, Nomsa, is there anything we can help you? So I had to work, for me to attract that tribe. Before my character, my image, I had to show people that I'm not here just to get what I want and get out. I don't know whether you guys have experienced that kind of experience, but I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you guys and say everything that I have attracted is because I've been amazing, I've been this. They made me work. Honestly. Sorry guys, if you're watching, I appreciate you, and I appreciate you guys making me work and making me show you that I'm not here just to take your knowledge. I'm just here to actually impact you, and you learn from me, I learn from you. Honestly, that is the way that I have attracted every tribe that I'm in. Even with you guys in Ngosi Talk Show, you actually did the same. To actually are we just here, or is she serious about Ngosi Talk Show, or we are just here and then she's just gonna give up? So that's what I've realized, that attracting a tribe and that vibe, it has to be real. There has got to be a connection. The people that you're attracting, they need to know that you're not gonna just drop them, or you are not just there to use them and then you move away. So that has been my experience. So if anyone, or Carole, Anne, or Amanda, if anyone wants to comment on what I've just said, please feel free.
I think that I completely agree with you. Like, when you want to start on a journey, it's not just going to happen right away. There are going to be a lot of things that you're going to have to work on. But in order to attract that group of people that is going to inspire you, you have to do the work, because they're doing the work. And they're doing the work each and every day to better themselves, but they can help you along your journey to empower you as well, because they are already either been there or been a little bit further along than you in their journey to empowerment. But I even think about this within like sports and activities too. Like, I ski and snowboard a lot, and so I've always skied and snowboarded a lot since I was in university. And I have had times where I've had this big group of people to ski with, and it's been so wonderful. And then people have kids, and people stop skiing, and I kept my daughters, like I started my daughter skiing at 3 years old. And for the longest time, I just be me and her. And I was like, I just want this tribe of people to ski with. But in order to find that, I had to keep skiing. I couldn't just be like, oh, I don't have anybody to ski with, so I'm not going to go. I know so many people who are like, oh, I just don't ski anymore because I don't have anybody to go with. I'm like, well, you still have to go by yourself. You'll start finding those people that will attract you and want to go with you, or even like join groups of people that want to go. So in order to attract those people, or even like hiking groups, this is something that you have to put yourself out there in order. You can't just hide in your house and be like, oh, I'd love to attract this into my life. You have to put yourself out there in any situation, whether it is a business goal or an entrepreneurial goal or even a lifestyle goal. If you want to be the type of person that goes out and like I live by the mountains, so like to go hiking every weekend, but you don't have anybody to go with, you have to start putting yourself out there and joining groups of people who also enjoy those same things. So if you want to become a writer, then start joining groups on Facebook, or there's even groups probably that meet in your city when it's not COVID, to do writing and to do the things that you want to do. So I also think too, like when you start to, or if you want to get fit and you want to lose weight or something, then you need to join with other people who have that same goal, because then they'll motivate you. I used to sometimes go to yoga in the morning, and the only time I would ever actually get out of bed and show up in the morning was when I was meeting my friend who was also going. Otherwise, I'd be like, oh, I'll just turn it off and I'll go later, because I'm not a morning person. But if I had that friend to meet, I would make sure I would get there no matter what, because they were depending on me. So sometimes when you start to attract people into your life that have those goals, you also start to become accountable to keep reaching your own goals as well. And they will hold you accountable to that. And I think that's really important and something to recognize within yourself. Because I know for me, getting up for yoga at 5 a.m. is not something that I enjoy. But if I have to meet my friend, I will get my butt out of bed and I will get there. So having that tribe of people to empower you to get out of bed and to go do that thing that you want to achieve, whether it is a fitness goal or an entrepreneurial goal or a writing goal, you have to start surrounding yourself with people, and also take that step to put yourself out there.
So much. Thank you so much, Amanda. Carole, have you got any comment?
Yeah, I was going to say, what I'm hearing is it is about putting yourself out there, because as Nomsa was saying, it's about doing the work and putting yourself out there, building the relationships. And that is one aspect of it, because if you hide behind closed doors and you don't speak out, you don't let yourself be seen, no one's going to know anything about you. And so that other part of doing the work is getting out there, talking to people, putting yourself out there, but also knowing yourself. It's about being true to yourself and being yourself and building relationships with other people. And it's about getting to know what they want, and maybe supporting them in some way, rather than expecting them to do things for you. And the other thing is about, as Nam said, she shifted her focus. And if you shift your focus, that again shifts your vibration. It shifts your awareness. And again, it helps that part of your brain, that reticular activating system, to wake up in a different way and go, oh, this is what they're wanting to focus on. And therefore, it will bring more of that to you, because you'll also have that awareness. I've noticed things in the past that have perhaps always been there, but they weren't in my consciousness. They weren't something I was really looking for. But as soon as I started becoming aware of it or looking for it, it's like, oh, gosh, I've never noticed that before, but it's always been there. You know, you suddenly start to see it, you start to hear it. I found myself reading things online. I would find a website would come up, which is just what I needed to read in that moment. So it is about also being present, being in the moment, because things do come your way. And if you're very present and you know what it is that you're looking for, things come your way. And I would find myself reading articles and things about the brain and the brain-body connection. And I go, oh my goodness, this is just what I needed to learn here today. And it would open up my eyes, that I'd become more aware of how my brain and body were working, set up with my brain, the different parts of it, and help me to understand what perhaps wasn't working as well as it could work. And then so I'd do some work on myself, and things would change. So it's not just doing the outer work, it's doing the inner work. You need both. Both are important because shifting and doing that inner work shifts your own energy and vibration. But you have to put yourself out there. And that's something that I tend to hide more than I'm out there. There's still that inner battle that I'm still working on. I am putting myself out there much more, and I'm happier to speak out. And to be on a show like this is a big step forward, to just let myself talk and share my points of view. That took me a little bit of shifting inside, that realization that I do have something to say, and it's okay to speak it out. And it's going. I can hear it. Something that here wants to be said hasn't yet been said. And I just breathe. And it's getting in touch with whatever beliefs are going on inside of you that have you withdraw, hide, work with them, shift them, change them, so that you can then move out. And that is what's allowed me to actually be on this show and to be putting myself out there in this way, is that I realized that I had these beliefs that were holding me back about what I thought and about what I was saying, and have I got the right to say this, and dare I say, this? Well, yes, I do have something to say. And so I'm now much more comfortable to sit here and say it, and I'm enjoying it. It's like, so it's about having fun, because having fun also attracts people that enjoy life and have fun with what things that you like doing as well. So yes, do the work, find the people that you want to be around. But if it's not working out, look at why it's not working out. What in you needs to shift such that you can then move forward with those people. Or maybe it's not those, but someone like them. It's recognizing what is it about these people that you want to be around, and work with that. Don't hang it on to, it's got to be these people, because it might not be them. It's the qualities that you're looking for. It's who they're being, and how are they being in their life, and what are they doing. And therefore, it might not be them, but it could be someone else that's even better. So yeah, it's just recognizing what it is you want. Just keep shifting it in yourself, but being prepared to put yourself out there and yeah, do the work, both the inner work and the outer work.
So much.
And speak up. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Carol. And I like when you say being in the moment and do your inner work and your outer work. So when I actually shifted my mindset to say, okay, I'm going to actually find people that want to achieve the things that I want to achieve, that thinks the same way, the way I think. Because for me, I wanted to be the business where I was. I didn't want where I was, and even my social media, it wasn't right, and I wanted to learn more about all those things. When I actually, my business coach, he actually said to me when I met him, he was like, I'm not gonna do the work for you. I need you to understand this. Whether you've paid me money, but you're gonna have to, as a CEO, you're gonna have to get out there. Like Carol Ann, you're saying, you're gonna have to, those were his words, you're gonna have to get out there, be seen by people, and you're gonna have to speak. For me, I'm just going to deliver the information, what you need, the information to grow your business. I'm happy to deliver, but you're going to have to get out there and speak for your business and tell people what you do and how you can help them, their pain, and understand their pain so they can trust you, so people can hang out with you. And even my tribe, they can trust you if they feel that they can trust you and you're bringing value to their tribe. They will be happy to actually hang out with you. So in that moment, I was like, are you kidding me? I am paying you and you are telling me that I need to do the work. So then I realized, when somebody is explaining to you, you get scared, but when you actually stepping up and start doing the doing, it's actually easier. So I started stepping up and meeting people, introducing myself. And the most thing that he said, it was like, try not to spend money. And when he said to try not to spend money, I couldn't understand it, but my tribe that I was hanging out with, we got to a business event, every course that people are selling, they're buying it. And then we got to next week to another one. They're buying it, even if it's £4,000. I was like, this is why he was saying, do not spend money when you go out. Honestly, when they was actually saying, now it's time to actually upsell, and I'll be like, okay, I'm sitting here, no, so sit down, do not get up, do not get your wallet out. I just stay there. So those were the things that I started learning as a business person, and also learning to connect with people on social media as well. When somebody add you as a friend on social media, basically before I would just add them and that's it. But now I've learned that when someone adds me on social media, first I have to introduce myself and like their post and ask if there's anything that I can do to help. And I'll get a reply back and saying, oh yes, this is what you can help me. And that's how I make connections on LinkedIn or even on Facebook as well. I make connection. I'm struggling to make connections on Instagram because my Instagram is too fast. I can't keep up with it. But yes, it's too fast. I get up in the morning, I've got 100 connection or 100 connection or 200 connection. I just have to hang on a minute, who can I find? So it's easy. But on LinkedIn it's fine. I connect with people, or sometimes the people's birthdays, I send messages on their birthdays to acknowledge them. If it's 10 people, I just get up in the morning and give myself 2 minutes to send that birthday messages. I prepared it. I prepare one message and then send it to everyone. For them to say, okay, I appreciate you following me, because these people, they like your post, they view your videos. So I feel that as their tribe, I'm allowed to give them 1 minute or 2 minutes to say happy birthday. And believe me, that's how I connect with people, and that's how I find clients. So anything you want to say, Amanda, or
I really think that starting, if you want to change things and to change your vibe, is to start within yourself. but also to put yourself out there, like we've been saying, because like I would have never been able to connect with you. I live in Canada. You guys live in the UK. And if I hadn't started putting myself out there and joining women's entrepreneur groups and joining different book writing groups and starting writing for a magazine for adults, like that part was scary for me, because I was like, oh, I'm really good with kids. But to put myself out there to be able to achieve my goals. So one of my next goals is to write a book for adults. But in order to do that, my baby step is to start writing the magazine articles. And so I'm committed to writing 12 articles throughout this year for Brainsy magazine, because my next goal is to start writing for adults. And if that practicing, like I may not get to that goal like in a day, but I will get to that goal eventually. And even when I started writing children's books, my first book took me 4 years to get from start to finish to get published. So even when you're like, okay, I'm going to change my vibe, I'm going to start attracting this, it doesn't happen overnight. It takes a long time, and it takes constant steps each and every day in order to get there. And when you also catch yourself going down that negative spiral or a not as healthy spiral, you need to recognize it and then shift into, like Carole was saying with the horses. I have some experience with horses as well, because my aunt is really into horses. And when I got divorced and was building my house, my daughter and I actually lived in my aunt and uncle's basement for 8 months. And so we spent a lot of time with the horses on the farm. And when I first started riding the horses, I would be so scared and like so tense, and they could feel it and they could sense your energy. But once I lived there for a while and I was like, got the hang of it, and I can put this saddle on myself. I know what I'm doing now. But it took me a long time to gain that confidence. And then the horse too knew that I was more confident and knew that they couldn't fool around with me on anymore. They had to actually listen, because I knew what I was doing. But at the start I didn't. So the horse knew that and would just like stand there, I'd be like, okay, let's go. And they'd just like stand there and be like, not moving. So I know that when even animals can attract your tribe. So people who love animals are just attracted to them because they can sense that energy and sense that love that you have. I attract children. Children are like, I love their energy. I love how they learn. I love how inquisitive they are. And so lots of times I get along with kids a lot better than I get along with adults. And that's why I'm a teacher, because like adults scare me. Kids, I'm like, oh, we can hang out all day. Right? Whereas other people, they're like, oh, kids, they scare me. I'm like, I'm good. Me and the kids can just vibe. We'll like do some art, we'll read some books, we'll do some like run around and play a game or jump on the trampoline, and that's fun. I attract that fun into my life. But that's because that is my vibe, right? Is helping kids, and so branching out into helping adults and working with adults is a lot more scary for me. I know anytime I do an art workshop with adults, I'm always a lot more nervous and anxious than if I'm doing it with kids. With kids, I'm like, no worries, I got this. But anytime I go to do a workshop for adults on a painting or something, or doing a wine glass painting night, I have so much more anxiety than I ever do when I teach kids to do art. So I know there's some things that I need to work on too, to be able to attract that tribe of adults that is going to be creative and inspiring as well. So being able to find a tribe like this where I can speak is a big step for me in putting myself out of my comfort zone.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Do you have anything to say, Carole Ann, please?
Yeah, I totally get what Amanda's saying. I remember when I was teaching, the one thing that really scared me was actually parents' evening and meeting the parents. Is like, what are they going to say? But actually, it turned out the best evenings, because all they wanted to know about was how their child was doing at school. And I got to then look forward to them. But I was very aware that in the beginning it was very much, they seemed to be, quite scary, sort of the adults. But and I think having stepped out of teaching and into this new role where I'm working with adults has been that scary step, and actually speaking out. But what I found is that more often than not, I end up talking with the inner child of that adult. And when I start talking with that inner child and they start to recognize that inner child inside, there's something shifts and opens up, and there's a connection happens, and they feel heard. And I think the important thing is actually understanding someone else's language and what they're saying. And very often they may say something that you can take as, oh goodness, what they're saying. But if you really listen to it, or where they're coming from, actually there's a communication there that if you understand the communication, it's not scary at all. And then you can actually have a conversation, you can actually be with them, and the whole relationship can shift. And I remember, again, going back to some animals, my sister has got alpaca, and there was one particular alpaca that was she was new into the field and into the group, but because the others didn't know her, she didn't know them, she kept her distance. And the male alpaca, he would sort of be very dominant and do what he does, and it was as if she just kept running away. And what we came to realize was she didn't understand his communication. And I actually did some surrogate work and sort of felt into that and did some shifting of that energy. And over time, she has got closer to the rest of the alpaca and is now actually being included in them. And it helped me to understand that maybe I didn't understand my target audience, what they were saying. And so again, that's helped shift things for me, because now I find that more writers are coming my way. I'm moving more in that sort of writing circle. In the beginning, for me, it was like, well, I keep being told there's lots of people that want to write a book, but where are they? Where are they? I couldn't see them. But something shifted, and now it's like they're everywhere. They're just showing up, and I realize the huge audience that is out there of people that are wanting to write a book. And so, out of that huge audience, I don't need to work with all of them. It's those who are particular for me. And so I now know that they are out there, and it is about me using their language, understanding what it is that their struggles that they're going through, and be able to then address that and speak in their language, and realize that, because in the beginning, all I do is I help people to get the book written, get the manuscript written, because as I say, you can't publish what isn't written. But many people will be asking, well, how do I get it published? And they were concerned about the publishing part of it before they'd even written it. And I go, oh, well, I don't know. So it wasn't really being very helpful. And then, of course, it just drifted away. So what I've now started doing is having conversations with other people who do the publishing side of it. And so, working with them. So I've got someone who can explain it to the people and understand that it's a real concern. So don't dismiss it. If I can address that concern for them, then come on, okay, let's now get on with the actual writing of the book, because I've addressed that concern for them. So again, it helps the people that I want to come to me, you know, and so it is about language. It's about understanding their language, what they're saying, and being able to use their language as well and be comfortable with it. So it's quite complex, isn't it? Building relationships, understanding other people, putting yourself out there, and being willing to be vulnerable. And I know we did a talk a few weeks ago about that very thing, about being vulnerable. And it is opening yourself up to the possibility of criticism. And I think that's maybe where working with adults, you are more open to criticism than when you're working with children. There's something different. There is that fun element. I don't know, it's beautiful, because I loved working with playgroup children. I love working with the secondary school children, and opening up into the exploration of how can I help them to learn and understand the subject and succeed. And so it's for me now to bring that to what it is I'm doing now. But yeah, when I first started wanting to speak out, in my head it was like, well, oh, they're all going to be asking these questions, I can't answer them. Well, actually, just take a lesson from where, if I didn't understand, you know, one of my pupils asked me a question and I didn't know the answer, I would say, well, hang on a minute, let me get back to you. What's wrong with using that same technique with adults? Does it, you know, it's all of a sudden, it doesn't matter. And I had to sort of remember that it is okay to say, well, right now, I don't know, or I can't remember, let me come back to you, or find someone that can support you on that. And that's okay. So again, it's that knowing yourself, being open and honest, and being authentic, you know. Yeah, it's
I wanted to just comment on two things that Carole Ann said. One was about that inner child thing. I know, like, sometimes people who you look up to, who have achieved what you were dreaming of achieving, they can come across as having this like confidence, but then in reality, they're just as scared as you are. I know this one time I was doing this, I invited this lady in to do a Mala workshop for me, and I was so intimidated by her. She owned her own business. She was an amazing yoga instructor. She had an international jewelry business. And I had invited her in to do this workshop with like 12 people in my home. And I was so scared to have her come in and teach in my house. But then she ended up showing up early and we ended up talking. And she was more terrified of coming to teach in my class, because she's like, all of your friends are teachers. I don't have a teaching degree, and yet I'm teaching you how to do malas. And I was like laughing to myself, because like I was so intimidated by her, but yet at the same time, like this little me, the little teacher, I'm like, she was intimidated by me. And so we never know what's going on in that inner child that people have within themselves. And so even though somebody may show this huge amount of confidence on the outside, sometimes when you actually get to talk to them and get to know them better, they have this inner child that is really struggling with some things as well. And I always think back to that story and I laugh, because I was so nervous to have her come into my house and to teach us, and yet she was the exact same way. And so I think sometimes we need to recognize that even people who are very, very successful, they have their own insecurities too that they're working through. We are all human and we are all just people, and we all have those things that we're scared of and that we're insecure about, and we're all working towards helping us not have those insecurities. And I think we have to be really conscious of that and gentle with that within ourselves, is that when we start to put ourselves out there, know that other people are just as scared to put themselves out there. And that I know that as time goes on, you start to build confidence and start to recognize that things, once you do it once, and then it gets a little bit easier, and then you do it again and it gets a little bit easier. So speaking to adults, one thing that really helped me was I did my master's degree. And while I was doing my master's degree, I was 9 months pregnant and in my second class. And I was presenting to the class, and there was a group of us presenting, and the one person in our group didn't prepare at all. And I was like, I am not getting missing out on my A at 9 months pregnant because this person didn't do their project. So I stood back up and started talking about what we were supposed to talk about because the person didn't prepare. Because in my head, I'm like, nobody's going to tell the 9-month pregnant lady to sit down. Nobody. And I was like, I don't care what anybody thinks. I am not losing out on my A because this person didn't do their job, and I'm going to fix this. And I did. And I stood up and I fixed the part that he clearly didn't do his job, and made sure that my group got the A, and the rest of the group was like, thank you so much. And I was like, here's what went on in my head. No one's going to tell the 9-month pregnant lady to sit down. Nobody. Especially because I was like sending all of my work in being like, if I end up in labor and not able to present today, here is all of my stuff so that you guys have it. And I had so over prepared for this presentation, and I was so annoyed that the other person hadn't prepared at all, that I was like, just gave me this like huge amount of confidence that I never would have had before. I would have just sat there and been like, and not able to speak and be so terrified that I would insult somebody or that I would step on their toes, when I was like, really like, I am taking my power back because I have these goals and I'm not going to let anybody stand in my way. And that's something that was really, really hard for me because I am a very shy person. I'm a very quiet person. Even in my classroom, the kids know they have to be quiet, or otherwise they won't hear me because I'm so soft spoken. But then they know they're in trouble if I raise my voice. The other thing, I had one more thing I wanted to talk about that you had mentioned, and now I'm forgetting what it was. I had 2 things. Well, maybe it'll come back to me in a minute.
I'm sure it'll come back. Yeah, and if it were to come back,
Was it
what might
understanding
it be?
the audience? Amanda, was it understanding the audience?
No, it wasn't that. It was on something else that she had said, and now it's completely slipped my mind.
It's okay.
Okay. Thank you so much, Amanda. I like it when you say sometimes you see people, they are overconfident and you think they've got it all figured out, but they are just like you are. I've learned that the hard way, because I used to look at the celebrities and I'll say in my mind that they should be doing this, it should be this, until I actually started hanging out with them. Then I realized actually these people, they are normal people. They have lost their lives because they are not living their lives to the fully. They are actually living their lives out there trying to please the public. So sometimes we think that other people have figured their lives out. We haven't. We start fearing instead of wanting to learn. So what I've learned now is to shift my mind. If I'm really, really scared of something, I basically, I don't overdo it. I practice and practice and practice, and I just say to myself, Nomsa, you do what you can, and I just do what I can at that moment and deliver whatever. If it's a presentation, I remember when my business coach said, Nomsa, you're doing a presentation, I was like, okay, being on stage with the music is different than when you are speaking. Your body, you have to stand still, you have to be still, you have to give the audience so much attention, your body language, everything. But when you are singing, you can, if you have fear with something, you can do something, dance, you can focus on somebody else. But with the speaking, it's actually you have to be intimacy with the audience. So I was like, you are having a laugh, and it was like, no, I'm not. So when I actually said to myself, I'm just gonna give it all, whatever I have, I'm just gonna give it all. If they criticize, they criticize, but God, you be there for me. I'm just gonna go on stage and give it all. And you know, when I went on stage and I finish, I see people coming to me. There's lots of people that I've connected with that day, and they were like, wow, have you spoke before? I was like, no, I've never. And they were like, wow, that was amazing. I was like, that was scary. I'm like, thank you so much, but that was scary. But if anyone didn't know, hadn't asked me, they'll be like, wow, she is so confident. But I was scared. So like when I started on Ngozi Talk Show, now I don't really mind what people, they can comment, they can do this. I come to a place where I know that I'm not perfect. But before, when I started, I was so scared that every word that I say, people, how are they going to say it? How are they gonna take those words? Are they gonna judge me? But I thought when I began Ngozi Talk Show, but as the time goes by, you start realizing that actually, in order for you to learn, you're gonna have to learn, make mistakes, and you're not gonna please everyone. And also the tribe that you attract, they will accept you for who you are because they love you, they want to hang out with you. And I just have to be grateful for people being around me and embrace my time with them, and being grateful that God has put those people in my way. So we are running out of time. Carole Anna, would you like to comment? What,
I
have you got
think
anything to comment?
I think the one key thing that you said there is about being grateful. Being grateful, practicing gratitude, because that actually raises your vibration. So whatever is happening, whatever is showing up within relationships, find something to be grateful for, because then you will shift your vibration, and then that will shift the relationship. It will either, that person will go and other people will come in, or that person will, something always shifts. But again, be grateful. Find something to be grateful for. So yeah, practice gratitude. That's the best thing to raise your vibration.
So much, Amanda. Before we leave, anything you like to leave with our audience, please? Or do you want to comment what I've said or what Carole Ann said before we leave?
I think just go out today and find something to be grateful for, like you both had mentioned, and to start taking steps towards your goals, and people will show up to help inspire you, but you have to be able to be willing and wanting to do the work along the way.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Over to you, Carole Ann. Any words of encouragement you'd like to leave with our audience, please?
The key thing that comes to mind is have fun. It can get really serious, a little bit sort of weighty. Bring lightness to it. Dance with it. Have fun with it. Laugh, sing, and find someone else to share it with. Because it's in the sharing that actually things come to life and it all takes place. Because as you were saying, Namsa, it was sharing things and working with your coach that things started to move. As I've said before, being on your own, keeping it to yourself doesn't help. So share, have fun, put yourself out there. Yeah, and just enjoy it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Carole Ann. For those who are watching, like what Carole Ann was saying, is she's saying you need to share. There's so many things that I've gone through with my business, not knowing what to do, but having the right people. It doesn't matter whether you have the right people in your tribe. If you don't share, like Carole Ann, she's saying, they're not gonna know to help you. So you have to share and let them help you. Give that room to say, I don't know it all, and let them share with you, and having faith. And also Amanda was saying, it's not easy to actually attract people, and when you're actually struggling to attract those people, and she also mentioned that things they end up do happen, like when we are scared and things are not happening how they should. Patience, having faith, things starts happening. Having faith, there's so many things that I've gone through, but there's one word that I kept saying: Domsa, keep believing and keep having hope, keep having faith. And that's what is leading me to where I need to be: having faith, having hope. So thank you so much for those who are watching. We are here Monday to Friday, 1 p.m. UK time. Please, if you're watching this video, you love the message, press some heart button and share with your friends. Thank you very much, and live with grace, everyone.